Power doesn't arrive loudly. It doesn't announce itself with noise or urgency. It moves quietly. Through rooms you haven't entered yet, through conversations you weren't invited to, until one day, it notices you, and when it does, everything changes. Naomi Clarke's world was predictable. Not bad, not great, just controlled. Morning coffee at the same desk, emails stacked in the same order, numbers that made sense, even when people didn't. She liked that. Numbers didn't pretend. People did. You ever feel like we're just replaceable? Her coworker Jason asked, spinning slightly in his chair. Naomi didn't look up. We are, she said calmly. Jason laughed. You didn't even hesitate. She finally glanced at him. Why would I? He leaned back. I don't know. I just thought maybe you'd say something more hopeful. Naomi returned to her screen. Hope doesn't change structure. Jason shook his head. You're different, you know that? She didn't respond. She had heard that before. It came in quietly. No alert, no urgency. Just another subject line among many. Naomi paused, scrolled past it, then scrolled back. Her fingers hovered over the mouse. Something wrong? Jason asked. She turned the screen slightly. He leaned in, then froze. No way, he said. What? That's not for us. Naomi's eyes narrowed slightly. What do you mean, us? You know what I mean, he said. That's executive level, senior leadership, people who matter. She looked back at the email. People who matter. The phrase sat heavier than it should have. Probably sent by mistake, Jason added. Naomi didn't respond, because something about it didn't feel like a mistake. She wasn't supposed to go, that much was obvious, but the more she thought about it, the more it bothered her. Not the invitation, the assumption that she didn't belong, that she should ignore it, that she should stay where she was, safe, predictable, invisible. No. That night she stood in front of her closet longer than she should have. Not because she didn't have options, but because she understood something now. This wasn't just an event, it was a test. And she had already decided. She wasn't failing it. The moment she stepped inside, she felt it. Not rejection, not hostility, something more subtle. Assessment. People weren't staring, they didn't need to. They noticed, and then they categorized. Who belongs? Who doesn't? Naomi moved carefully, not hesitant, not overly confident, balanced. She picked up a glass, something simple, gave herself something to do, watched, listened, because that's what she did best. She noticed the way certain people stood closer together, the way conversations shifted when someone important entered the room, the way power didn't raise its voice, it lowered it. First time? The voice came from behind her, calm, controlled, certain. She turned, and everything narrowed. He didn't introduce himself. He didn't need to. Some people don't ask for attention. They carry it. I can tell, he said. Naomi tilted her head slightly. And what gave it away? A small pause. You're not performing, he said. She raised an eyebrow. Should I be? Everyone else is. She glanced around the room. He wasn't wrong. Then she looked back at him. And you? She asked. A slight smile. I don't need to. That answer should have annoyed her, but it didn't. What do you do? He asked. Analysis. He waited. She continued. I see patterns, gaps, things people overlook. He studied her more carefully now. Dangerous, he said, only if you're hiding something. A pause. Then, interest. Real interest. You're not like the others here, he said. She didn't react immediately. Neither are you, she replied. That landed. Time shifted. She didn't notice how long they had been talking, but others had. Glances started lingering. Conversations slowed when they passed. Naomi felt it, the shift, attention, and strangely, she didn't pull away. You don't belong where you are, Adrian said suddenly. Her expression changed. "And where is that?" He stepped closer. "Not enough to cross a line, just enough to define one. Somewhere smaller than you." That wasn't flirtation, that was assessment, and somehow, it meant more. The moment ended without warning. It didn't fade, it stopped. Adrian stepped back, like he had seen enough. "You should be careful," he said. Naomi frowned slightly. "Of what?" "Of what happens next." A pause. Then he added, "Because it will." And just like that, he was gone. The room felt different now, not because it had changed, but because she had. She stood there for a moment longer, then set her glass down, walked out, not rushed, not uncertain, but aware. Because now she understood something. That night wasn't random, it wasn't luck, it was an opening. Back in her apartment, Naomi stood in front of the mirror. Same face, same expression, but something behind it had shifted. Her phone buzzed. She looked down. Unknown number? A message. 7 p.m. tomorrow, don't be late. No name, no explanation. She didn't need one. A slow breath, then a small smile. And just like that, she stepped into something she didn't fully understand. But deep down, she knew one thing. There was no going back. Attention is a currency, invisible, but powerful. It changes how people look at you, how they speak to you, how they treat you, and how you begin to see yourself. Naomi didn't sleep well, not because she was anxious, but because her mind wouldn't slow down. That conversation replayed in fragments. His voice, his words, the way he observed her. Morning came too quickly. She reached for her phone before she even sat up. The message was still there. 7 p.m. tomorrow, don't be late. No name, no context, but it didn't feel anonymous. It felt intentional. She sat there for a moment longer than she should have, then stood. Because whether she admitted it or not, she had already decided she was going. Work felt smaller. Same desk, same numbers, same conversations. But something had shifted. Naomi noticed things she hadn't before. Who got listened to, who got ignored, who spoke with confidence, and who spoke with permission. Jason leaned over again. "You look like you're thinking too much." She didn't look at him. "I usually am." "About what?" A pause, then she said something she didn't expect. "Where I'm supposed to be." Jason frowned. "You're here." Naomi finally looked at him. "For now." That answer unsettled him. She could tell, but she didn't explain. Because she couldn't, not fully. The building felt different after hours. Quieter, more honest. Fewer people pretending. Naomi stepped out of the elevator and into a floor she had never been on before. The executive level. Everything was controlled. Lighting softer, noise minimal. Even the air felt different. She walked slowly, measured, until she reached the door. No label, no name, just presence. She knocked once. "Come in." Adrian didn't stand when she entered. He didn't need to. "On time," he said. "I don't like being late." He nodded slightly. "Good." A pause. Then, "Sit." She did. Not hesitantly, not confidently, just deliberately. "This isn't a meeting," Adrian said. Naomi's expression didn't change. "Then what is it?" He leaned back slightly, studying her. "An evaluation." She almost smiled. "Of me?" "Of potential." A pause. "And whether you recognize it." That landed deeper than expected. "What do you want?" he asked. Simple question, but not an easy one. Naomi didn't rush. She thought, then answered. "Access." Adrian's eyes narrowed slightly. "Explain." "I want to be in rooms where decisions are made, not just analyzed after." Silence. Then, approval. "You think you're ready for that?" Naomi held his gaze. "I think I've been ready." That was the moment. Not dramatic, not obvious, but real. Something shifted in the room. Not attraction, not yet. Something more dangerous. Recognition. "You're different," Adrian said. "I've heard that before." "And what do you think it means?" Naomi didn't hesitate. That I don't stay where I'm placed. He smiled. Slightly. It didn't stop there. That meeting turned into another, then another. Always late, always private, never inappropriate, but never entirely professional either. Conversations drifted, from work, to perspective, to control. You trust easily, Adrian said one night. Naomi shook her head. I don't trust. I calculate. Then what am I? A pause. Then, a variable I haven't solved yet. That answer stayed with him. It didn't take long for people to notice. They always do. The looks, the pauses, the conversations that ended when she entered. Naomi felt it. But something inside her had changed. Before, it would have made her uncomfortable. Now, it made her aware. And awareness felt like power. The first time Naomi saw her, everything clicked. Lena didn't walk into the room. The room adjusted to her, poised, measured, controlled, and watching. Their eyes met. Lena smiled, not friendly, not hostile, just informed, as if she already knew everything she needed to. Later that night, as Naomi stepped out of Adrian's office, she heard footsteps behind her. Slow, deliberate. Interesting timing, Lena said. Naomi turned. Lena stepped closer, close enough to remove any doubt. You should be careful, she said softly. A pause, then, power doesn't just elevate you, it exposes you. Silence. Naomi didn't respond, but for the first time, she felt something unfamiliar. Not fear, but warning. And the deeper she stepped in, the harder it would be to step out. There's always a line, you don't see it at first, because it doesn't look like a boundary, it looks like opportunity. Until you cross it. Lena's voice didn't leave her. Not completely, it stayed in the background, like something waiting to be understood. But Naomi didn't slow down. Because something else was stronger. Momentum. Work changed. Not officially, but noticeably. People spoke to her differently. More carefully, more cautiously, some with respect, others with quiet resentment. She's moving fast, someone whispered. Too fast. Naomi heard it, but didn't react. Because for the first time, she wasn't just observing the system, she was affecting it. The meetings changed too. Less structure, more silence, more space between words. You're distracted, Adrian said. Naomi leaned back slightly. I was warned. He tilted his head. By who? She didn't answer directly. Does it matter? A pause, then, only if you're listening. They stood closer now, not intentionally, but not accidentally either. The distance between them was no longer neutral. You understand what this is? Adrian asked quietly. Naomi's voice lowered. I understand what it could be. Silence, heavy, measured. For a moment, just one. Everything paused. No movement, no sound, just awareness, the kind that doesn't need explanation. This is where people make mistakes, Adrian said. Naomi didn't step back. Or decisions. That was the moment, the real one. Not what happened, but what almost did. Adrian stepped back first, always controlled, always deliberate. This changes things, he said. Naomi held his gaze. It already has. Neither of them denied it. The email came days later. Subject line, position update, effective immediately. Naomi read it once, then again, faster than expected, higher than expected, too clean to be random. You earned it, Adrian said later, but his tone carried something else, awareness of what it meant. The office didn't hide it anymore. The looks were direct now, judgment, speculation, assumptions. She didn't get there on skill alone. Naomi heard it clearly this time, and for the first time, she didn't reject it, because part of her knew this wasn't just about skill anymore. That night, she stood in front of the mirror. Same face, same posture, but different, more certain, more controlled, more distant. She studied herself carefully, not with doubt, with evaluation. Her phone buzzed, A message from Adrian. We need to talk. Tonight. Short, direct, different. Naomi stared at it for a moment, then picked up her coat. Because deep down, she understood something now. This wasn't just opportunity anymore. This was transformation. And every transformation comes with a cost.